Hi, I'm Lynn Bellenger. I am the husband of past ASHRAE president Lynn Bellenger. Our home is in Rochester, New York. Lynn was the engineer in the family. She went to college in a small liberal arts college in Elsa, Illinois, Principia College, where she majored in mathematics. She went to graduate school in Rutgers in New Jersey. At that point, Rutgers was not a co-ed school, but the graduate school was. She received a master's in environmental science at Rutgers. She went to work for Xerox Corporation, which was just a few miles from our home in Webster, New York at that time, and began working the Xerox Corporation's licensing of all of their ventilation systems. All of their vent hoods needed certifications to operate. And she and another individual began working on that. She became interested in mechanical engineering. So she wasn't trained as an engineer. She didn't go to school as an engineer or graduate with an engineering degree. But her background and her mentoring by others got her interested in mechanical engineering. And she was able to learn enough and pick up enough on her work and from other sources the ability to pass the New York State Mechanical Engineering exam. Shortly after that, she was encouraged to join ASHRAE. She joined the Rochester chapter. She continued to serve the Rochester chapter. She went through the chairs as and served as president. And began to get interested in ASHRAE nationally and began attending society meetings. She served initially on the ASHRAE board as a director at large. From there, she became vice president. She served 2 one-year terms as ASHRAE vice president and then went off the board for a while. She came back on the board. She was elected as the Region 1 director and regional chair and served 3 years back on the board again as a DRC for Region 1. And again, 2 one-year terms as ASHRAE vice president. She was off the board again for a year. And the nominating committee advanced her name for treasurer. She became the first woman president of ASHRAE. Lynn loved God and her church and her family. And she enjoyed the outdoors, hiking, swimming, canoeing, and kayaking, especially in the Adirondack Mountains of northern New York State. Initially, we had a tandem canoe, and we used that so much in the Adirondacks. And later on, Lynn had her own solo canoe. Eventually, we transitioned into individual solo kayaks, which allowed us to move a little bit away from each other and a little bit closer to each other and still head in the same direction. Lynn loved innovation. She loved having the first of anything. She was always looking for new technology and new solutions and new way to solve problems. She had one of the first Garmin street pilots, which was first introduced, I think, in the late 1980s. It was a box on the dash with a black and white screen. The box was almost as deep as it was wide. It wasn't the slightest bit intuitive to program. And accuracy was a big drawback. The directions it gave were sometimes laughable, if not dangerous, but she enjoyed it. Another innovation that she enjoyed when she first found out about these was a Kindle reader. She coined the term and claimed that she suffered from aerobibliophobia, which is the fear of being in an airport or on an airplane with nothing to read. So having the Kindle with her was a godsend. The industry, the air conditioning, heating, and refrigerating industry is not just pumps and valves and compressors. It's people. And half of our population are women. And she always considered herself a mentor to young engineers, and particularly young women engineers. And it was her greatest hope that more women would become interested in engineering and become interested in ASHRAE. We spent so much time with Sheila and Greg, and when I happened to notice on the ASHRAE website, I think about a year ago, that Sheila, at that point, was treasurer, and I knew she was on her way to becoming the second woman president of ASHRAE, and I am so thrilled. I couldn't be happier. Her life was devoted to loving her family and to finding better ways and better solutions and bringing people together.